A lot of great film to watch over the weekend, and probably the most up-to-date analysis on the game. I was pleased with. I'll just start with a number of different areas. I thought Justin Sorensen kicked the ball well, especially field goals, PATs. Kickoffs were good, not great, but nice to see the ball go through the uprights. Scott Ariano as a punter, thought really did a nice job in our for his start and for an opener. Ethan Manumaleuna, Wani Unga, and basically the defense played, I think, really, really well. Jamal Williams had a strong game. Taysom Hill, a strong game. Things to improve: throwing and catching the football, critical situations, too many drops that were drive changers, and more physical play and more continuity in the offensive front, not only in protection but especially early in the game, and just giving us room to run. And those would be the two main areas I would target right now: throwing and catching, especially catching in critical situations, and then our offensive front becoming more physical and a more dominant unit. That would be the areas that I would say can improve most.
Do you need new looks in any offensive line combinations at this point?
It will happen, and started happening today. And so I'm not going to say it's open season, but really every spot is being challenged. And so DeAndre Wesley played well in the limited time that he got in. Michael Yeck did a nice job. He might be able to play either tackle. Manaki Vaitai, when he played, did a nice job. And so where we start for this upcoming five will be really interesting to see. Most likely it will not be the same starting five that just finished our opener.
Can you update Cody and Wani Unga?
Cody, man, not much to say. He's had 1 day of rest from the game. They listed, and Cody himself, they're saying 80 to 85% is where they thought it was on Saturday. So, man, I'm hopeful for this upcoming week, especially with it being a night game, gives us a little bit more time, or an evening game. Wani Unga, good news, CAT scans, x-rays, etc., all negative, but lack of strength. He can hardly do a push-up right now, but he played, I would say, if not the best game, one of the best games an inside linebacker has played that I've ever seen. He played really, really well, and there was no regard for his body, and I think he actually hurt it in the first quarter, and made it all the way, I think, to the second to last series, and then finally just couldn't go anymore.
Chest injury?
Yeah, you'll have to talk to Jeff more, but almost the entire side of his body, they thought it might have been bruised ribs, broken ribs, punctured lung, pneumothorax, that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's somewhere in there. But it's none of it showed up on the X-rays, so they think mostly soft tissue.
He can play then this week?
It's a good question. We're hoping.
Coach, talk about your defensive front. Ethan Manumaleuna, 10 tackles. Man. Talk about him and Marcus Johnson in the middle.
So Ethan just he played I think 58 to 60 plays and at nose tackle, and then to have, I mean, he played so well. The combination and why they had such a hard time running it was basically between Ethan and Wani, and they just really played well. And then we put Marcus in. He got about 15 plays and was absolutely trustworthy. He can probably handle 5 more, I would say. And then we put Ethan at end, and that gave us a little bit more size, where we could spell Remington, who's a little bit lighter and takes more energy to hold off some of the blocks for him.
You've put some quotes on Twitter in recent weeks, and any inspiring things, something you've tried to say to your team to get over this as fast as possible?
Oh, yeah. Man, I thought we played really hard. It didn't mean we necessarily played well. But I was encouraged, and I thought we gained some momentum, didn't lose any. It was a hard loss, really hard. And I'll tell you, I've never been through a 2-hour wait in the locker room like that, and I think that took its toll on me as well. I mean, that was hard, and so a lot of learnings from it. But I think our team is optimistic, encouraged, and feels like there was progress made. However, it also gave us a clear idea of what areas we had to work on. So the brutal facts are we need to get better up front, better at throwing and catching it. But man, our running back, Jamal, ran really, really well. Our defense played well. Our corners, that there was so much question about, I thought did a nice job. And our kicking game looked better. We had one of our most experienced players miss an assignment on the block punt. It wasn't a unique rush. It was just a miscount, and we let a guy go free. So that was frustrating.
Can you talk more about Rob Daniel and the job he did?
Oh, I mean, yeah, he just was. I mean, I called the game like he was Jordan Johnson, like a returning player. I started out a little more tentative, just trying to see if he's going to be okay. And man, after about the second series, it required no consideration. And the same for Sky Pove and Dallin Levitt. It's only been one game, but I was encouraged by that.
Regarding brutal facts, 16 points on 93 plays has
Yeah.
to bother you.
No question, especially when there were enough points on the